Hi guys, I'm Merced. How you doing? Happy Monday. Oh, you can see I went to the Ed Sheeran concert. Oh, you got the video too. So I'm all sparkly and happy and having a nice shirt here. Look at that. All a little hippie, daddy hippie. Well, that's for my kid. You guys are doing great. I'm great and stuff. I'm looking through discussion on lifestyle. Looks like the majority of you for sure, at least the majority had okay time with it and we're kind of like uh, 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 seeing how it is when we hold each other a little accountable and when it's an exercise, how much easier or not easy is to implement something that we know is good for us or get rid of something. We can work on that too. Actually, I gotta decrease my coffee a little bit. Then this week, let's look into this week. Well, I appreciate that because it took me a while to do these exercises and don't feel like I'm just a fool doing them. Um, a little new stuff always comes with a little ambiguity at first, and so I'm really glad a lot of you are taking this seriously and seem like to get something out of it. All right, then this week we're going to go through muscles. We're going to get into muscles. I've been reading some Padlets. I know some of the terminology is a little harsh. It's a lot of terms. For sure, what I wanted to be able to do is reach out to me if you want to talk more, if you have questions, you want a Zoom meeting, go through some, even if it's some of the lab terms, that's cool. You have the advantage of having two very knowledgeable experts in this field, so you can, pick our brains and learn as much as you can in this course, that you can then take it forward in your professional life. Or into your private life too, of course. That's, to me, that's very, very important. That's why we do these health kits. For me, I think to tie it together in real life and make it. I think it's very important to have real life based stuff in this, because I just had this finger thing that was pretty serious and was pretty fast, and knowing about the skin and knowing about the infections a little bit, or what the immune system does and how it works, and sort of get a general idea also helps me support my healing with what the doctors say, because not every doctor has the same opinion. I've noticed that, obviously, in this situation even too, of what exactly to do. And so the more I can bring to the table of knowing, of thinking with people and with them, I'm not going to be a know-it-all, but I'm a support system to what they're doing. And I can make sure my finger is managed. See, if I lose this finger, I can't work. So for me, this is extremely serious. And so it just does support me in this, like, thinking, hey, a health education class is part of what we're doing here. It's partly important to learn about. If you learn anatomy, you might as well learn about taking care of yourself. That's kind of how I see it. So anyway, we're doing those for that, and that's sort of the thing. I was kind of like, yeah, I'm really doing it. This week we're gonna go into the muscles. So we're first gonna do a little muscle function. Even though it's an anatomy class, I want to sort of get an understanding of how this stuff works fundamentally. It's not that much material in that way. You can go much, much deeper in physio, which you potentially will at some point. And then we start with the trunk muscles, which are the ones that hold us up against gravity. Most of them. So of course they also move us around, but a lot of the trunk muscles are here to hold us up against gravity. See, gravity continually pull down as you've been answering these ergonomic questions, and I'm going through them, and you guys are doing a great job. So gravity always pulls us down. If we want to have a position in this gravitational field that is as neutral as possible, that we need as little postural muscles that we're talking about that hold us up against gravity and make sure we're straight. And so we're not going to be in a walk around like that. That's going to be like, besides I'm like really upset or something, it's not going to work out. I want to be holding up. And a lot of the problem is really in this motion. And so a lot of the time, just squeezing this rhomboids and bringing the shoulder back is very helpful, and be mindful of that, for example. So that's the trunk muscles. And the problem why we need to talk about that is if we do it over time, and we're like having poor posture over time, we're gonna get in this slouching posture, and the body is gonna maintain that. And I see that clinically when I'm working with people that work on desks a lot, and then they reach 60, it's like that. And it's like, damn, that's not good. We got to work that and fight against that. And so that's partly what I want to do with these things that I'm bringing in here. And see, the first one here, we're going to do the ergonomic. No, we did the ergonomic evaluation. So that's the preamble to that. And now we're going to do the posture evaluation. So I want you to evaluate a little bit of your posture yourself, on yourself. As good as we can do it. It's not. This is like, exercises to get more awareness. A lot of this is not just like, oh, exactly this or exactly that, because I can guarantee you when you look at posture, most likely everybody's going to be like that for head forward, and that's the most important portion of the posture. They're like a little side bending and little shoulder height. That's minute. We can work on that, but a lot of times that's just to be viewed as if it's really extreme. But the forward head posture, check us out. It's definitely a problem with most of us. So we're going to go through those muscles, and then we're going to have some quizzes, some questions around these two chapters, the physio and the trunk muscles. And then we have a labeling exercise on that. It seems like those are going well. You guys are doing a great job with those labeling exercises. It's really a joy to go through them, actually. Just make sure you label all the terms that I want you to label in the exercise. I know they're not all connected with some of the lab terms, but a lot of them are. Hopefully my terms are also in the lab terms. I think in lab you go a little bit more in detail some of the places. And then we finish that up with the questions and tips. There was one thing else that I wanted to say about this stuff. Oh yeah, let's go do that. When we look at our stuff here, at some point we're going to have a lecture test. And it's like, it's like a lecture test. So what I did is, look at that. We go through all this stuff. Believe me, immune system, this finger, there was a little hole from a hair that had all the water cesspool stuff soaked up in the pool, and that was the end of that. So immune system is important, and the most important thing that you can already take away from here, a boundary around the body is very important. This boundary is the first line of defense, they're going to call it in here. But anyway, we're going to go through that. We're going to even do the nervous system basics, not the brain stuff. But then we're going to have a lecture test at some point. And, oh, shoot, you know what? I got to open that. That's not even open. Look at that. Holy cow. Thank God I just saw that. So now that's open for you, too. And what I want you to do is, and I'm going to actually open all the modules, although I don't want you to move too far ahead because we're going to process this material it takes time a little bit. So, but I'm going to open it because the test review is open now. So you should be able to get into that. And what I have there, I have bullet points of all the chapters of what I want you to know of this chapter in terms of the test. And see, we got all this description here, for example, in the muscle system. Okay, so a lot of the anatomy terms are actually not on the test for the lecture. So I want you to be aware of that. But that doesn't mean we're not doing the activities, because it really helps us to get this material marinated in the brain, I call it, exposed to the material, and the brain can absorb it. So that's why we're doing all of that. So make sure to please be aware of this test review for the second test, and so that way you're not overwhelmed at that point. That way, because it is quite a bit of material, but that way you're not overwhelmed. You can focus on understanding it and not memorizing it for the lecture part. And actually, frankly, I think over time I'm learning that people do understand it very well when we do it that way. You can also print it out here. There's a PDF version of it. Please do that. Should be sort of a backwards engineering thing. Like, you listen to the lecture, you have that here handy, that list of bullet points, and then you do the questions, and then slowly, that material gets understood better and better. Anyway, so that's that. Sorry, I didn't publish that before. That's my bad. And then what else we got going on here? Well, let's go briefly into this posture evaluation, what I want you to do in there. So see, I want you to evaluate your posture by placing little dots or make little marks, different parts. Like, you have 3 views that you take. You take a back view, a side view, and a front view, and you see the sternal notch, pubic bone, so here, and then at the pubic bone, you want to have a landmark, because then what you do is you connect these dots together when you take a picture. And you can do that all on your phone. I mean, you take a picture, and then I think you even probably have a measuring thing if you do edit your picture, and you can just do it on your phone. You don't even have to go and do it on the graphic. Actually, this is from a chiropractic practice that some of the doctors do that and then show the patient what's going on. And so I want you to just sort of make it a little visual for yourself, as well as, of course, for others to see. You can print out that worksheet up here that I did, so that I have a link here if you want to. And then that's one of the things you upload. And then see, here's the way you analyze it. You visualize a plumb line and blah, blah, blah. See, that way you also learn to do all these terms again, and you apply them, because this is actually very sophisticated. This is PT levels or chiro or whatever level. But this is, you know, really understanding a little bit of the geometry in your framework in this gravitational force that always pulls you down. This also makes you realize, I'm not so sure it's a good idea to go to Mars. Think about it, you know, because gravity is also the reason why our brains are so developed. Because if you think about it, I had a patient, he asked me, how is the patient, is the body built? Is the body perfect, or how is? I said, it comes later. It's not perfect. It depends on what that means to you. Of course, he came back and says, well, let me tell you about this. And he gave me some pamphlets and talk about perfect. And I'm like, okay, how, you know, it can be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But let's think about gravity pushing down. We're standing on these, you know, legs that are, you can't even show them with my background. They're stick things in the middle. You know, they have a little joint in the middle. I mean, how is that going to be a stable situation? It's not. And so the brain needs to work so freaking hard that we don't fall down all the time. And if you look at robotics, it's really, really hard to build a robot on 2 legs that doesn't fall down. It's a very big challenge. It's not. It's one of those difficult conundrums. And so our brain is really developed heavily because we have to be in a gravity environment and holding us up. And that is also one of the reasons that, unfortunately, our brain diminishes when we don't are upright over time. So if we're just sitting around all day, it is not helpful for our brain to work well, to have connections going on, because so much of walking around is just connections that need to be made to make sure we don't fall down. And that really turns on the machine as well. And so it's both. We can curse the gravity, but if we wouldn't have the gravity, we wouldn't be here. So that's another side of looking at it. Anyway, let's see. I talk way too much. Well, here, give 2 reasons why good posture is important. I want you to work through some of these questions and answer these, and then upload these. So you upload a picture, you upload some answer of some questions, some text, write it, type it, whatever you feel like doing, draw it. If you're a good drawer, please draw it, because then I can learn from you. Because I'm not a good drawer, but I love how people can draw when they can draw. Part 2 of that is like, well, we figured out most likely our head's forward. So let's do something about it. What are we going to do about it? So we're going to have us do some exercise, go through a few different exercises that we can do. These are actually sort of the main ones, yeah. And then and I want you to do them. Don't do them if they hurt, or do them less if they hurt. But I want you to go through these exercises, and I would like for you to do them. I think 5 times a week, something like that, like 5 days, you know, something like that. My week is always 5 days, so Saturday, Sunday is off. But it doesn't have to be Saturday, Sunday, it's just 2 days. Because some people have a different week, which, you know, is actually cool if you have a weekday off. But I want you to do them, and then I want you to answer these questions of what you're stretching, when you're stretching it, and why you're stretching it. I want you to see, how does it feel after a while? Does it actually help you? Does it give you some help? That's why I want you to do it like twice a day for 5 days. So that way you're actually forced to do it a little bit. And I promise you, I do it too. That's actually the main reason why I do these. So I do them once in a while. Just kidding. But that way we can actually experience it together a little bit, because it's hard to implement some of these things on our own and stick with it, and, you know, without just saying, I know, that's another thing. Isn't it crazy how much this sort of little pushy helps? it's also good to understand that how we behave with these kind of things, our brain behaves. So that's that. And then you upload all these things, track your exercises, make a little grid and say XXX when you did it or something. That way you keep track of it and you give me that upload. I get a visual. Give me a visual of what you're doing with the stretching. I want you to keep track of that yourself, and then you give me that visual. So that's it, I think. You upload those. To finish up, please upload your posture diagram, exercise tracker, and answer questions in your preferred format. Do not upload the posture pictures unless you don't care. That's fine with me. I'm not going to share them with anybody. I just want to be mindful. And that's actually one reason why I do have the diagrams, so people don't have to feel like they're exposed. People are sensitive about the pictures, which I really, really appreciate. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those challenges in this new world with privacy a little bit, and you gotta be okay if you want to be private. It's absolutely your choice. So don't feel bad at all. And then we finish up with the questions and Padlets thing. Oh, look at that. I still have old ones in here. I gotta take those out. So that's about it for that week. I think it seems like so far so good in our endeavor together here. Again, reach out to me. Wherever it says pronto in the system, I think we're back to texting. I haven't had any pronto movement really this semester. Most of you guys text with me, so that's sort of interchangeable. All right, I'm stopped chatting now. Have a wonderful week. Don't be a stranger. I really appreciate all your good work. Take care.